A few quick messages that came through on our earlier conversation. I agree with Sky because here in China we are enjoying labor holidays starting from yesterday to next Monday. It comes after we spent Easter weekends in offices and lecture halls. Kweku Yabua from China. This is on the banking of holidays. Yeah. In the UK, all the holidays are on Monday. So Monday is May Day. This is from Thy Will in London. I totally agree. Midweek holidays can be a productivity killer. Shifting them to Mondays or Fridays could be a game changer. I discussed this with my colleague last week. Okay. Good morning, Bernard and team. Speaking of the holidays, I was in Zambia about 2 or 3 years ago, and amazingly, their former president would sometimes let them have Friday as part of the holidays once the official holiday falls on a Thursday. According to him, there won't be any form of productivity on a Friday after the Thursday holiday. Kwesi sent that
but theirs is different. So they will give you the Thursday and the Friday. We are saying commemorate it on the Thursday day it happens,
and then give us the next day.
Yes, give us the Friday or the Monday for the holiday. One person doesn't agree with you though. F.O. Yaogan says, I don't agree with Sky's proposal on the holiday. We as a country have many challenges in terms of productivity and development. We are far from meeting them. Okay. Now, what I will say is that it's not how many days you work that makes you productive. It's what you do in the day that makes you productive. So the fact that people show up at work doesn't mean they are working. If people come to work and they are energized to work, they are productive.
Yeah.
So you can bring people to work 7 days a week. That doesn't mean they are productive. People can work 5 days a week and be more productive.
True.
It's about the systems you put in place to ensure that whilst they are there, they are working. So therefore, as for this one, I don't agree with you. Holidays are also good. In fact, rest is
it's great for productivity.
The countries that are more productive than us is not because they go to work more days than we do. It's because
they are more efficient with the time they have.
When you come to work, you can account for your time. So productivity is what value you produce per time. So that's why in some countries, your wages are on the basis of per hour.
Yeah.
The problem is that in Ghana, you show up at 9 o'clock, go to work at 5 p.m., but maybe you only do 2 hours of work. You get it? So that's why we don't even take holidays. Look, if you have colleagues who work in certain countries, when they have a holiday, they actually go on holiday. Because when they say they are working, they are really, really working. Because you can ask Sky, assuming you work in a law firm in some of the advanced countries, bro, when you enter at 8, in fact, sometimes you're even working from home. No, that home you are working from, no, it can even be worse than working when you are in the office.
Yeah.
Because you must account for your time. There are meetings they put there, reports you must present. He's doing a master's. If he likes, he shouldn't learn. The homework he's supposed to produce, you are given 3 books to read. Each is 500 pages. And you're supposed to produce a report in 3 days. Now, can you say you won't read the book?
You will.
And if you're supposed to produce a 50,000 word document, can you say you won't write it?
You will.
You see, so there are inbuilt mechanisms for forcing people to be productive, which I think we as a society have not mastered. All right. So here, I don't know how to describe it. Like when I went to the Western world, there's a way in which you can know how much you are earning by what you are doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are certain professions where, let's assume you are doing a cleaning job in the school library. Maybe they give you £52 an hour. So your work time is 11 to 4.
Yeah.
So 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hours. You multiply, you know how much you are earning. And now that 11 to 4, no, you can't be reading a book. Oh.
Yeah.
Because the volume of work they've given you to do,
it's such that you can't do anything.
There's no way
else.
that 11 to 4 you won't do anything. Here, we all come to work at different times. But a lot of it, we don't do it. We are Facebooking, so that's productivity. So productivity is getting the most out of human manpower per unit of time. Okay. What enhances productivity is technology and skills. So if you go to school, if you know how to, so for example, let me use class an example. So let's assume he's been trained in using AI to do certain kinds of things.
Yeah.
So he can do a lot more work in 2 hours than I can because he's better educated than I am. Or he has technology that can make him, so for example, he pays for a system that helps him summarize his notes. So I'll read the whole thing, he can have a summary. So productivity is how much can you produce per time? You follow me?
Yeah.
So, and I don't even think it's about laziness. I think it's about work culture and structuring the workplace to make it productive. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there are many people from Ghana who go to the Western world and are very productive. Because the system they've been put in, they don't have a choice.
But to be productive.
So whilst I agree that we need attitudinal change, people are more serious and things, you always have to build it into the system. So you must systemize productivity. This is why we are not productive. The other point is that if you are productive, you can do so much more per time that your cost can be lower. You get it? So the reason why China beats us, so let's assume, let me give you a nice example. We needed furniture for our new kitchen at City. So we went to different shops and she was, in fact, we asked some guy to do it for us. And we were not getting the quality. So she went to some shop and she got, you saw the furniture in the kitchen where we sit. Very, very nice furniture at a very cheap price. I think the company that she got it from, they imported it from either China or someplace. Now, the reason the Chinese can produce that furniture at that cheap price beyond what Agowu can do is multiple reasons. They've done it for much longer. So they have a system that can produce that high quality in a shorter time. They can also produce a lot more. It's called economies of scale. So you can produce 10,000 units per day.
Correct.
Agowu can do only 3 in a week. So if you want it, and they have a logistics system that supports it, do you get it? And they can also source raw materials cheaper. So the Agowu guy is great. He's a hardworking guy. He can only do 3. Now, if the guy in that China place, he can get wood from different parts of the world. He has big access to credit. So China would defeat you in productivity because, and they have machines that they've bought with money that can make them produce more. And they don't sleep because in the night they can work. Do you understand? And because they have such a big size of market, they are exporting to 200 countries. So you can buy that furniture at 500 cedis from China, but in Ghana it will be 2,000. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
And the Chinese guy will make more money and pay more people.
And be more productive.
That's the thing. So there are many factors. So whilst the mind, but the truth is that if we work hard, and then we'll translate that into also building systems that force us to work hard. So it's not just the individual, it's also the system. So an organizational culture where people clock in, people account for their time. But you see, I agree that there's also need for diligence and honesty and all those things. Because if people are determined to be lazy, they'll be lazy. Okay, but so having an educational system that makes somebody very willing and wanting to be productive and work is great. But you must also build it into the system. Do you get my point? Which is why we are not wealthy as a society, because we are not able to make things that we can sell and add value to. Our concept of business is that I go and buy something from China and add money to it and sell it to Caleb. So basically we do middleman work. You could do but you see, to be productive, you must also create. And we are not able to create, because when you create, because sometimes it's labor intensive as well, a lot of people get work. So that poverty thing is a multiple, it's a plenty
issue.
things.
But so in defining, so this is an HR issue, right? Human resource, maximizing human resources for productivity, right? So should institutions like ours, or should startups or organizations consider giving people tax, for example, so that based on every individual's pace of work, if you're done with your tax for today, then you can probably also find something else to do with your time that can get you some resource.
Are you speaking about at the organizational level or the national level?
Organizational level here.
I think it really depends on the leadership of the company and what they want to do and what challenges they face.
Yeah.
So for example, for many companies, their problem is that they have too high costs. So they are not able to produce productively. Now your costs are either fixed costs or recurrent costs. So fixed cost is land, the factory building, the big console in front of you.
Yeah.
Variable costs are how many people you hire to work for you. So to do a profitable business, you must be able to deliver value using the least cost.
Yeah.
So we are producing a high quality morning show and there are only 4 of us in the studio. The fixed cost is the equipment we have. So generally your fixed cost, you pay for it once and then you sort of allow it to depreciate. So you can control your variable cost by saying, let me get a highly skilled Caleb Kuda who can do the work of 3 people at the same time.
Yeah.
Pay him a reasonable salary, but pay all my taxes and all the other things I have to pay and still make a profit that I can either reinvest in the business. So when you have high quality people, it can make them more productive and you can deliver value at a lower cost. But high productive people are not cheap.
Yeah.
You can also use technology or machines. Okay? Technology can also make you more productive.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you spend money on the technology, but then because the value you create is so much, you can sell it for so much. So it depends on every company and what competition they face. But the general issue is that companies must cut their costs. Getting high quality people to work for you is always a plus. Then also having a system of rewards to keep the high quality people. Because if you have people who are high quality, other people also want them.
Yeah.
So let me use the banking as an example. So one of the reasons why banking is difficult to get good credit in Ghana, and give me 2 minutes to explain this. So let's assume I form a bank, Aloski and Sky Bank. So we have capital. Sammens gives us $1 million to start the bank, as an example. So we get a place like Boba, we build a bank, and we start doing advert that want to do bank. Then we realize that, we need a lawyer. So we go and hire Godfrey to be a lawyer. We need a chartered accountant, because BOG says you can't chartered accountant. And all these people are already working for somebody. Yeah. And they're already being paid, so you have to pay them more. So we have good capital. Yeah. We have paying 3 or 4 people more to come and work for us. Yeah. So before we even start lending money, our costs are already high. Yeah. So now, before we lend the first money to Samuel Akom, we have a house in Agboba. We have $1 million that we have to on-lend to people. But we already spent half of it paying the IT guy. Yeah. We are paying the finance guy. We haven't done any business. We have to buy cars. We have to fuel the cars. Okay. Now, if we can cut down our costs, then we can. What value are we offering? Our value is, the business model is we are lending money and we are doing after sales service. The value to the customer is that you give him money at the time he needs the money, you do follow up, he uses the money, he pays back. So if you can use technology to profile the customer, so instead of having 200,000 relationship officers who will be chasing people, technology can do a lot of work for you. It lowers your cost. So I don't pay higher salaries. Yeah. And then I can translate the saved cost of running the business into value for you. So when you come and lend money, borrow money from me, I can give you a lower interest rate because my costs are not so high. Right. Do you understand what I'm saying? So every business is different. The point we are making is that high quality people and technology plus a system
that makes them productive.
But the key point is you are creating value. Whether it's through a radio program, through money lending, or through building a road, you are creating value. Now, and what I've said for a company is also true for a country. We are not competitive because what value are we creating? Let me give you another example. Let's assume Nike wants to produce footballs. So they say, okay, the raw material for producing football is leather and cloth. Now, if they go and produce the football in UK, the laws in UK, before you hire somebody to do sewing a football, it's too expensive. You have to pay for his rent, pay for his house, like maybe £100 per hour. Yeah. Let's go to Bangladesh. Bangladesh, they are young guys who are finished secondary school, who are small. They can sew football, you pay them maybe the equivalent of £2 an hour. They call them sweatshops. Yeah. So a lot of these garment companies go to these Asiatic countries. They have a massive population of people, semi-skilled, their labor laws are not that strong, and the company can make high quality footballs and sell all over the world at a very low cost. So the question to Ghana is that what do we want? we want people to bring business to Ghana. So you can say, okay, come and set up your t-shirt factories in Ghana. We have some very high quality people who can sew and they don't need that much money to be happy. So move your factory from another place and bring it to. But you have to guarantee that when they bring the factory to, say, Tamale, the distance between Tamale and the port is low. The tax is predictable. There's no guerrilla terrorist activity. And the currency is also stable.
Electricity is cheap and available.
Then they will move their business to Ghana, and then Ghana can become competitive. Then hopefully Ghana can learn how to do football or t-shirts, and then we can also compete. So this is where we are. So that's why Atufosi has to lower make sure the economy is stable. Muntaka has to make sure there's peace in the country. Haruna has to make sure that people are well educated so they can be employed. Agboja has to make sure the roads are okay.
Very good.
So you see where I'm coming from.
And the healthcare system to function.
The reason African countries are poor is that some of the factors I've put together are all not working well. So the Asians have beaten us to that. In addition, the Asians, their citizens are hardworking. The Asiatic culture. If somebody, and I was reading this somewhere, a typical Asian family in Vietnam, Thailand, or China, we will go to farm as young people. So maybe Sky, he goes to farm cocoyam. In China, the farm is a rice farm. Farming rice is very difficult. It's a very difficult, rigorous process. According to the philosophers of those parts of the world, those who farm rice, they learn a certain discipline that they bring to the workplace. hard work, thrift, delay gratification. So generally, they believe that their people are more amenable to surviving hard. In fact, let me give you an example. They were discussing the trade war between America and China.
Yeah.
And they said the Chinese government believes that Chinese citizens can suffer more than American citizens. So if there's a trade war for a year, the Chinese can cope with hardship more than American because they have gone through more hardship. You see where I'm coming from? So the question is, beyond structures, your citizens must have a certain tendency for survival, hard work, honesty, discipline. That's the software for development. So if they say Ghanaians are hardworking, they speak good English, they can work for long hours without demanding too much. They don't steal your goods. Then companies will move their factories here in addition to other advantages the government gives. But if we are lazy, we are always stealing toilet roll, we are doing Facebook while it's working time, and we go to church on Thursday, Friday, we won't come to work. How are they going to be productive to compete? So if I have a big company like Nike, I won't bring it to Ghana. Do you understand? So development has soft part. And the software is the behavior of the people, their mindset, the way they work. The hardware is the people I described.
Yeah.
Road minister, finance minister. So we spend a lot of time discussing the hardware of development. But the software is what is repelling because our people are not trained to be honest. They are not trained to be disciplined. They are not trained to be to delay gratification. When they get money, they want to spend it to buy the next car. They don't want to save. Some can't say because their wages are so low. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So there has to be a commitment to. Why do you think every time we have meetings, MD is talking about attitude? When you eat, take it from the fridge. It's like because the software, he can't legislate for that. You can get somebody who has a master's degree from tech, but his attitude to work can undermine his career prospects and it can affect the company. So we need to have a national campaign on, and productivity is a national productivity campaign has to do with the way we work. The thing I spoke about yesterday, attention to detail, thrift, honesty. That's the software of development. If we can build that software, we will be very powerful.
Yeah.
The hardware of development, you can buy it, but the software you have to grow it. You can buy technology, but you cannot buy honesty.
Yeah.
You get it? So when we are interviewing somebody for a job, you say, this girl, I'll tell you the last one. When we are interviewing people for jobs, you can say, this guy, I'll employ him because he will ask the guy, where did you go to school? How did you grow up? Where is your family? Sometimes in the story of the person, he says, this guy, I like his attitude, so I'll employ him and I'll train him. Meanwhile, I can have somebody who's wearing a tie, fully qualified. This guy, he won't come and do the work. He's just going to be walking around giving orders. You get it? So employers are looking for the software.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bible says, a diligent man who can find.
Yeah.
So we need a national software, national campaign on productivity, rebooting the Ghanaian software. I'm telling you.
That's very powerful because, for example, anytime we talk about, if you take the healthcare sector, for example, especially the public sector, people talk about the fact that, look, we don't have the infrastructure, the buildings we have are not great, it's not incentivizing. Then we spend millions of dollars to put up a very wonderful, edifice that will compete anywhere in terms of standards. Then you go there and the attitude that meets you, it's so bad, and the system that's running there doesn't commensurate the investment that has gone into the physical infrastructure. So it looks like we need to spend more money and time also building the character and psyche of the Ghanaian worker.
Why are you sighing?
I mean, it sounds like repeated business because this is what you just said about our. I think we do have some good a degree of the infrastructure for our health sector, public health sector is not bad. I don't think it's bad. The gap is what you're talking about, the attitudes, resourcing, a culture of maintenance, taking responsibility, and all these things. There's so much we can value that we can get from fixing this gap. Because as for the basic infrastructure, we do have. In fact, we are comparable to a lot of proper countries in Africa, or even ahead of them. The only thing is that we have not learned to create value from the softer side. So health service practitioner decides that today I have a funeral, so I'm not going to work. So today is my cousin's birthday. So today, dear, I'm not working. And it's not just the health across, you know. And so when people build a culture out of it, and they are now confronted with a different environment, then they rather have a hostile response to it, because over here we don't do it that way. They don't want to hear that. Oh, but why? What do you do? You know. And these are some of the things that are killing us.
And then when you try to come and change it, so to continue from where it stopped. So let's assume they appoint a new CEO of a hospital.
Yeah.
They will start choking him and start saying that he's bad, that he's not a brother man, that he is some way, and they'll start doing medicine on him, doing him chofa. This is the problem. So a lot of times, if the leader doesn't conform to the system to make the people happy, then they undermine the guy. Which is why I say that sometimes we have to, do we really want development? Because let's forget our government for a minute. Let's ask about Ghanaian attitudes at the workplace. So, Sky, we've blamed politicians enough. So let's just talk about, so listeners, let's forget our politicians. Let's just talk about the people who work in the company that you are in.
The man in the mirror.
Particularly those of you who own businesses. The attitudes that you see when you go to any sector. Is that caused by a politician? When you go to a hospital, like you said, the way the nurse treats you, is that a politician who caused it? I actually think that the earlier we realize that our problem is a software problem, the better for us. Because you see, if you like, analyze all the speeches of the president since he took over. It's hardware.
Yeah.
Build digital development. I mean, I've emceed a lot of these programs, so I know. When we did the 1,000 coders, we'll train people, So he's always talking about we'll build the roads, we'll build this, we'll have the funding. He's always talking about what we need to do visibly so that development will come. The problem is that the mindset of the people and the attitude is going to undermine everything you do from top to bottom. So I think, you know, it sounds like a fad. Oh, let's talk about national software engineering. I think it's a very serious thing. Look, if you give somebody a new organization to run, the most important thing he needs to do is not to change the company's cars. It's to change the mindset of the people who are working there. If it doesn't have so if you do an audit of a company, you do an audit of their resources, liabilities, and assets, and then you know the state of the company. You also need to do a mindset audit. Where are the people?
Mindset audit.
I swear, I'm telling you, forgive my friend.
This one, it won't happen, no. We as a country, we won't do it. All the things you are talking about.
You don't think it will done, but you do it.
No, but as a country.
But you see, you do it in the reason I think we should push it is that, you see, it will get to a point where we realize that what is undermining us collectively is our behavior.
I get that, and I agree with you, Bernard.
Yeah.
You see, for me, I don't know how we are drifting into it, but listen, for me, the signals that I pick on the streets mean a lot to me. For instance, I don't understand why anybody should drive through red lights.
Ever.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's almost been normalized.
Yes, to the extent that somebody believes that once they are in a certain uniform,
he can do it.
Police uniform, military uniform, and these days, immigration, customs, GRA vehicle, and then it means once they see red light, they have to pass through.
True.
For me, that's where the indiscipline begins from.
Correct.
And it you see, it shows a certain mindset.
Correct.
That people believe that they have a certain entitlement
or
that
immunity.
gives them an advantage to be immune.
Correct.
And so the younger people or the less powerful people, when they see this level of indiscipline,
they aspire for it.
They want to be there. And then you turn around to come and advise them
that they should do the right thing
to break them. And I'm telling you, on the streets, you are driving and a truck driver parks in the middle of the road to have a chat with another person.
Yeah.
Sometimes
even urinate on his own car.
Yeah.
Just what you know.
It speaks volumes, Bernard. It actually speaks volumes of our attitudes. Yeah. Okay, so if we are not prepared to be disciplined, then as for this software thing, software thing it won't happen.
But how do you?
Because
let me ask you.
Let me finish. These are things you don't instruct, you illustrate.
So how do you get the
you
people
don't
to
instruct,
change?
you
illustrate. Because you see, John Mahama has a super opportunity to activate what you are talking about. For instance, why should we have a national event and the minister should come late?
Yeah.
He can cancel that in
No,
one
we
day.
are all waiting for the minister to come.
Why?
And it's 2 hours after advertised
He
time.
can stop that.
And then you
tomorrow.
invite a chief, and the chief insists that he will come late. If you start turning away chiefs for coming late, we will learn. I'm telling
Do you
you.
think that the political leadership must
It's a good opportunity for us. Illustrate it, yes.
illustrate the behavioral change?
That is preferred. That is where we will go.
But illustrate, hold on, let me push you. Illustrate it by punishing those who do it or by doing it themselves.
You start by doing it.
yourself.
Secondly, by increasing the frequency of doing it. Thirdly, building a culture of doing it. And then people will start aligning.
So let me give you an example.
Now, people won't just wake up and start aligning.
Yeah.
Unless they agree and accept in their heads that this is the way to go,
Right.
as illustrated by you. Yeah. Now, the third one is, now people now get punished for not
failing
doing,
to
for
live
failing
up to the standard.
Then we are getting there.
Right.
You won't get it 100%.
So let's take it one by one. The president has a good opportunity to illustrate punctuality.
Yeah.
So he starts, and then that can rub off. But the indiscipline one is tricky for me because the people who are supposed to enforce the discipline are indisciplined. The police, as an
Yes.
example. So we are in traffic. The president, the vice, and the speaker have to use a motorcade. The law gives them that right.
Yeah.
Now you are driving in traffic, and then a police officer who is taking his children to school also begins to do that.
Yeah.
Now, how does the president punish such a thing? Is it the IGP who's going to say no more police cars, whatever? Because if the police cannot be disciplined to obey the traffic light, they cannot enforce discipline in Accra for traffic light violation. Do you get my point? So on the time one, I think the president has a great opportunity. But the people working in the government
So discipline.
who run the red light and believe that they have a right to do it,
Yeah.
who is going to enforce that law? Do you get it? It's serious because, and for me, that is the manifestation of the software thing I'm saying. That even yesterday, I get to a traffic light at the Gifford Road. There's a motorcade coming. I think the sensible thing to have been done was when it turned green, the dispatch rider should have come to stop us.
Yeah.
And then his car will come. Charlie, we see no, they come. So we had to screech to a break. Police were there, they were looking at whatever. Then some car with supposedly money wanted to follow.
Bullion van.
Yes, and the police people said no. It's like 2 seconds of chaos before we all went. I'm saying, even if the person is entitled to use a motorcade, there's a way to do it. Because somebody is driving, seeing the red, seeing the green. He doesn't know that you are coming. But the guy believes that, so, and it was just one car he was leading. He was leading one car, and it was just one person on the motorbike. It could have caused an accident. So, Sammens, this software thing, maybe social marketing is what it would take, where media begins to show manifestations of certain behaviors. So, like, put the mirror in front of the Ghanaian. You know, in those days, watch these things. Yeah. Maybe you need to do that for people to see. If they will accept that they are indisciplined, it's a different question.
Well, it's true that the media will have a role to play in this. But how about the media showcasing something that is socially unacceptable, but wakes up every morning to see the politicians
reflecting things
doing the same? So if the politicians or the leaders will not illustrate it and use it as an example, it's going to be very difficult. And you see, we have been in the media and we continue to be in the media. So we keep saying these things. Politicians go into power and out of power. More often than not, it is only when they are out of power that what we are saying makes sense to them. You understand?
In fact, it's only when they go out of power that they even listen to what you are saying and send you a text.
And start calling you.
There are people, this week, somebody sent me a text on a program I was doing on TV. I have never heard from that guy in 8 years. And I said, are you still in Ghana?
He did.
He said, I'm here. I said, oh, really? So maybe when they are in power, they don't have time. When they're out of power, they have time.
Building this country, we can't just use brick and mortar to build a country. the software bit that we are talking about
Yeah.
is very critical. And at times it's painful because some of you are making reference to the hospital thing. I'll come back to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing has changed for me. In many areas, nothing has changed.
Yeah.
1992, 93. How many years is that?
32,
Over 30 something years ago.
31, yeah.
I was an IT person. And I remember there was a new hospital, government-owned hospital, that my company, they were our clients. So I used to go there and work there. And they bought a software at that time for 40,000 euros. At that time.
1992.
Yeah, then it's a lot of money.
40,000 euros. And guess what? After installation, the software didn't work.
Hey.
Right. Just like that.
It wasn't working. And after a while, I think they discarded it. And I'm not getting the detail. But then Herman
Cheresi.
had started
Soft tribe.
soft,
Got it.
yeah, soft with Zatochi and the rest, and I think they now created something locally for, at that time, the equivalent of $2,000
Oh,
to solve the problem.
that's against the 40K.
It didn't work. The thing didn't work. So I'm just saying that we still have people taking such decisions of, then let's go to US and go and buy this. Let's get somebody from America.
India.
Let's go India. Meanwhile, there are people here. So this mindset thing that we have what it takes to do, there's a way to do it. A way that will generate proper value to us as a people. But because of people's pockets, they will always use the hard route.
Let me ask another question. Do you think that when Ghanaians say they want change, so usually they complain about poor service delivery. Yesterday, people were talking about ECG, hospitals and things. Are they prepared for that change when it involves them? See, because I always ask myself, all those who have been texting me saying that, traffic lights are bad, ECG is not doing what they have to do, roads, they are victims of what is happening.
Yeah.
But if they are the perpetrators, will they still want me to do what I'm doing?
No.
It's a very important question because you see, not everything that happens is caused by a duty bearer. Number two, not everybody who complains, some of the people who complain are also duty bearers in other fields.
Yeah.
So let's assume you go to a hospital and you want to go to a lab and the nurse is giving you grief. You are spending like 2-3 hours just waiting to go and do your lab test. At that point, that nurse is a duty bearer. But if that nurse is driving and somebody crosses the nurse, they'll come and tell you that the police is misbehaving. But in the hospital, they're also misbehaving.
Thank you.
You get it? But that one, they only want to put it out because they are the perpetrator. And they have 1,000 reasons to explain why they are right.
Yeah.
So I am saying that this generation of Ghanaians, I don't think we are ready for change. He's describing problems from 92, which are still here. We've changed governments many times. So if I'm a politician, I can say, the only thing we haven't changed is the citizens.
Yeah.
We've changed Rollins, Mills. Who else has come? Mahama,
has come.
Kufuor, Akufo. Meanwhile, the people, the way they did, so now they did.
By 2030, Africa's population will have Africa will have the youngest population. That will be about 1 billion young people. That will be the youngest in
You
the
mean
whole
1
world.
billion young people going nowhere? That's dangerous.
No, let's finish. What are you asking?
So I'm also looking at the future, right? If this is the template we have now, how are we impacting the future generations so that through education we can do social reengineering? Because if you have 1 billion people on a continent that is full of potential, people see all the resources that are available with all their dreams untapped and all that, and they see their leaders enjoying life while there is corruption, there is poor public service, public transport is poor, public health care is poor, leaders always fly out for health care, leaders fly their kids out
let's stay within the confines of the question that the young
The training
is good. So let's not even go into leaders. Let's just talk about modeling behavior, which he made reference to.
Yeah.
So having a youthful population is neither here nor there. If the example you model is not positive, okay, so you can have an advantage if you have a youthful population who you can retrain, but you don't train people by instructing them. You model the way. You get it? So we may be multiplying chaos and having a bleak future if these young people, all they see is the things you are describing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and the other thing is that, you see, I don't think government can change people's behavior alone. I think that there are at least 3 or 4 places to change behavior.
Right.
Family,
School,
church or mosque,
right.
media.
Great.
I think those are the top 4.
Right.
Family means that what my children value is based on what I do. They look at what I do every day. School, they spend a lot of time in school. So the way they are cultured in school, cleanliness, responsibility, honesty, discipline, is all school. Then Friday they go to mosque, Sunday they go to church. They are told many things which I reinforce at home. So if you want to change a country, and of course then media, on their way to school, they listen to us and they see some things on television. And then social media, which is now, in fact, I argue that for many middle class families, social media is now training their children. Okay. Now, as any society that seriously wants to move from poverty to development in a generation must not leave these 5 places, or let me make it 4. Family, school, church, and then media. And media includes social media. Okay. There has to be, so let's take social media. There has to be some regulation of what your teenagers are exposed to as a beginning point. There has to be a deliberate, so I'll give you an example. I have a friend, he's called Kafui. His company is called Tech Aid. And they produce content that you put on a device for your kids. So let's assume your kids say they want to use their tablet. You can decide that they won't go on the internet, but you give them content that
will engage them
to start thinking a certain way. But what would we do? We would just procure laptops and then we just share. We don't have a deliberate objective of saying that this population boards, we want to make them believe that this is how to live. So that so if somebody like Dex Technologies has content on citizenship or science, you get it. So you deliberately say, let's expose our kids to a new type of content deliberately.
Right.
Then you also say the educational system, you are deliberately inculcating certain subjects because you want after 20 years to have a citizen who is this way.
Productive.
Then you urge families, because for families you can't force it, you urge families that, look, this is what the future I want to build for society. And if you want your child to be competitive, these are the things he must have. So if the guy is honest and hardworking, the system we have created, he'll be rewarded. So then families will conform. Then the religious bodies will say, if we want our people to do well, these are the things that Ghana as a society has prioritized. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the tragedy is that we are losing out because these things I've even mentioned, they are like back burner issues. We are thinking about what to do to win elections. Okay, so that we can perpetuate ourselves in power or we can win power in the next election. So a lot of the airtime, a lot of the attention is not focused on building the future and how they behave. It's about capturing the now to secure our individual future as politicians. And then we, the citizens too, we are not necessarily committed to change because change is hard work. It requires volunteerism, sacrifice, collaboration. We are not interested in that. We just want to watch TV, we want to eat and be happy, drink our beer. We are not even concerned about what is the collective. So I give you an example. A typical estate, they say, let's all pay 100 cedis per month in addition to the service fee so that they can even weed our common areas. People will not pay. They say, don't do this. So our behavior, we are not collectivists. So even though they said the African culture is communal, we are very individualistic. We are not concerned about what happens. Our favorite saying is that
common spaces.
You get it?
Yeah.
Now, that thing cannot, if you do that thing, you can never develop as a society. So I am saying that if we don't start looking at ourselves, all the things you've texted me about to complain about the government, look at yourself and how you behave at work, how you behave, PTA meetings, or even in the way you even relate to your neighbors. Are you sure that you are a model citizen? Are you sure that you the guy who's calling for these things, you are doing the right thing? When there's no police, how do you drive? You get it? If we can't change those things, then we expect, how can politicians come and change anything for you? They won't.
We are culturally unreliable. It's a culture. The unreliability is a culture. We don't deliver what we promise. We don't deliver the quality we promise. We are not there at the time we are supposed to be there. We say things that we don't mean. And all these things I'm talking about, we've built a culture out of it.
Yeah.
So you can expect that it will happen. I mean, look at this country. Government does the road, nice road, and then somebody comes to dig the road.
Yeah.
Dig and then leave it like that.
Yeah.
Or even cooks rice next to the road and pour the water on the road.
Yeah.
And then we think that infrastructure will help us develop. I mean, how does that happen? It's never happened anywhere.
Yeah.
But I say that the starting point is for the leaders, the politicians,
To
illustrate. I mean, for me, I don't even understand why we think that when you are late, it means you're a big man.
Yeah.
You want to start with
It
that.
means you're important.
For you, the time thing is
you're
an
important.
easy one to start
Because
with.
that's what, you see,
That's where it starts from.
there's so much currency and value in time management. Okay? Because technical simulations, if you look at the models of transportation
Yeah.
at the technical level,
Yeah.
it's
All
about
based on time.
time management. Because that is where you make your money.
True.
Correct.
True.
Africa, they used to say things like, oh, as for this man, if he's traveling and then he gets to the airport, even he can instruct the plane to
Yeah.
wait for him.
And we think it's such a big thing.
Yeah.
It does not make sense. It does not make sense.
No wonder Ghana Airport didn't survive, no?
No, you see, because see,
Ghana Airways.
in
Ghana Airways, yes.
this
Thank you.
country, we've been there before when Omnibus Services Authority used to work with time. That if it says that it's moving at 10:20, it will move at 10:20. STC, if it's still that it move at 1 o'clock, it will move. Now you can't do that because we've come to accept that the more
Anything
you
goes with time.
bastardize the time,
The bigger you are.
the bigger you are. You announce that the conference is starting at 10 a.m. and then you, the leader, you show up at 12. And then the worst one is when you come, you expect that everything should stop.
Let me ask you a question. Remember the Independence Day that President Mahama said he was going to make it smaller?
Yes.
You know, the initial argument was about cost of money. But I actually think that it also saved us time. In terms of, you know, they used to go and do match pass,
Yeah.
where they will stand and then they will do eyes, right?
5 hours.
And they'll go and stand at the Independence Square. He did it at the
Jubilee
Jubilee
House.
House, and it was less than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
My point is that I'm backing your point. Even in communicating that, Felix Kwachi was talking about the financial cost.
Yeah.
In addition to the essence of the event, I
Yeah,
think
but I'm actually saying that
We are
it
always
should also be a
valuing
question of
money.
time too. Because you can do a lot in that 1 hour.
Yeah.
If you have other things to do. But we didn't even communicate it as a time saving. We communicate it as a money because
Yeah.
in our head.
The value of everything is cash.
But his point is that you see, time is the basis for everything. If you don't have time, you can't make money.
True.
And I'm not criticizing the people. I'm just saying that he is revealing that we don't even think from a time perspective.
We think from cash perspective.
Just that, because the most important thing we saved that day was time.
Yeah.
Yet we didn't even
Value it
know
and
that was what we
communicated it
saved.
in that way.
Number two, other holidays and the way we structure things. Sammens, I've MC programs for 20 years. Most of the things that we do at programs are a waste of time.
Yeah.
I went to a program that I will never forget. This program, they launched the 1,000 Coders program. Was it Million Coders?
A million.
Sammens, we did the whole thing in about an hour. Wow. The problem though was that the president came at a different time because of communication. But when he came, we did, what did I even do? There were 3 speeches. Samuel George spoke, Nana Asasi gave a poem, the president spoke, we finished. So basically, the minister spoke about the thing.
Yes.
Nana Asasi gave a poem to introduce the president. The president gave a speech. He inspected the place. He was out.
Bernard, now hold on.
It was less than an hour.
Hold on to your thoughts. And I'm saying that this is, in fact, you just made my point. I wasn't there, but I had engaged some judge before the event. And he told me specifically that this program would take an hour.
Wow.
But you also know that some people didn't like that.
No.
They didn't like the 1 hour.
That is what I'm talking about, that we have built a culture out of the wrongdoing.
So and this is an interesting argument. So there are people who are like, but you come no, there's a way we do program.
What did I say?
The man said that sometimes it would take an hour.
So this is what I'm saying. But this is the thing.
Leadership.
But this is the thing. So that's a good example. They did the whole program. I was shocked.
Wow.
Introduced minister. He gives us, and his speech was not even 6 minutes. Nana Sassi did the poem. President spoke for less than 10 minutes. When he finished, he went to inspect the thing, and then we went. Because, of course, that day, the man had a lot of time pressure.
Yeah.
Now, that's productivity. So in a day, that was probably his third program, and probably had 3 more. Imagine if we translate that into the way we all do things. So you do a program, and it's 4 hours. The 4 hours, you give like 6 speeches. So everybody who has sponsored has to say something. Like I'm asking myself, do you even
Who's
know?
listening?
Yeah, you get it. So it's like we don't look. I always tell my people that, and this is not a very good example, but I'll give it anyway. When we watch even the high-level international media, what they do with an hour is not what we do in Ghana with an hour. You can bring two people.
It's not a good example.
It's because I'm guilty. Because you see, Sky, I was watching. They was watching Amampo.
Yeah.
They did like 3 heavyweight interviews. So
Solid.
15 minutes. They deal with some guy 5, and there's because in that society they don't greet constituents.
Yes.
They don't say I want to say the
Excellency,
excellency, the president. They don't do all those things. They just go. Yeah, I say okay. Before I even answer your question, I first I want to thank the people of my constituency. Then when you finish, no, we have a free time in Ghana, and then we have a whole hour discussion, and we have a long. You see, so I think that. Our respect for time. So thank you, Sammens. For me, if there's one place we can start the productivity discussion from, let's use time. Okay, so the productivity discussion and the software discussion, I think a revolution on time consciousness can be the basis for many things, because as he said, a transportation system depends on time.
True.
Educational system depends on time.
Correct.
Health system depends on time.
Sure.
Financial system depends on time.
Absolutely.
So if you get people to have the right concept of time, it can affect every sector. And the president can set the tone by saying, we are cutting down on the time spent at government events. By saying that if you invite us for an event, maximum 1 or 2 speeches before I speak, then I go. And I will not give more than 10 minutes speech, even if it's my own event. So that people who come and sit there and wait for 6 hours for somebody to come and give a 10-minute speech, we stop all those things. You get it? Yeah. So we can use time to do other more valuable things.
So that when the president sets that example, it will trickle down to social and religious events too. Because sometimes you go for a wedding, they are finished, you are doing reception, 5 hours, the couple are here to come, and people are sitting there, they've traveled from all across the country, and they're just waiting for those 2 guys.
Because we have formed a culture of disrespecting time.
It tells you.
But if the person who is having the wedding has seen or heard of a delayed arrival of the couple that came to meet nobody at their place, they will learn from it.
So I just wanted your
we've tolerated it.
I wanted your comment on the volume. You know, you've studied in many countries. Clearly, the difference in the society you went to and Ghana is time. What you are expected to do within a period of time, and how time waits for no man in the society that you are in. And yet, human beings are able to conform. So we think that if we are harsh with time, we are being wicked. But the society that you are studying in, somehow, everybody is able to bend. The only thing that they worship there is time. That if you come at the 11:25 to London, will leave. Even if you are the prime minister, it will not wait for you. And somehow, people still are living.
True. They are not dead.
And I think that's one of the reasons why they are successful and we are not. And even in the educational system, the amount of things you've been able to learn in a short time, as against a lot of the lectures you go to.
5 hours.
You get it? Because the system is forcing you to optimize your learning. Do you get me? So, and I know you don't want to talk today, but it's important that you give that example as well. That it's a very key differentiator between the educational systems. It's not even the quality of lectures alone. The fact that for them, if they say they are doing an hour, the volume of work you put in and what you are supposed to produce, Charlie, you can't hide. You have to do it yourself.
Because you see, there are consequences for non-compliance. We don't have that here. There are consequences for non-compliance. So, for instance, if they say you should submit an assignment by 5, normally they will say midday, right?
Okay.
UK time, midday. It is, you are not, a lecturer is not receiving the document from you. A system has been set up to receive it. If it is time and you have not submitted, you receive an automatic email that you have not taken part in this. Now, are there processes you can now trigger to say, oh, maybe you had an exigency or blah, blah. Even that would have to be investigated. But once you have not complied, you have not complied. You understand?
And there's a consequence.
So there is a consequence. You have not satisfied the requirement, and that is it. Unless you have a compelling reason why, they would have to look into the matter and say, oh, maybe you had some challenge that would that was reasonable, and so they would say that okay, because of reasonability, the reasonability of what you are submitting, they would agree that they will give you an extension or something like that. And then also, the last time I told a story here. I was going to leave Oxford to London. We bought a ticket, we got onto the bus. I put my bags inside. So my colleague said, oh, Charlie, he needed to eat something. So got off the bus, went into the market. So there was a small market there where they were selling all kinds of food. Chinese people, everybody was there. So went in there to buy something because we thought that he thought that he could make the time. So as he went away, then the driver said that okay, well, it was about time they were now about leaving. So I said no, if I leave right now, if we leave, we'll leave him behind. So I got off the bus, ran to go and fetch him.
By the time you came, what was waiting for you?
So he got his food, giddy. So we ran, the usual African boys. So the bus was leaving.
Yes.
So the bus had moved from the place of safety where they would normally receive passengers onto the bus. Move from there. Then we rushed, giddy. You know, there's a line you shouldn't cross.
Right.
So we ran, we passed that line, the red line, we went in, we're flagging the guy down.
And have your numbers, you're stopping no numbers. Okay.
So the security people came in. No, you can't do that, sir. So they pushed us behind the line. They said, no, you're not getting on this bus. The bus came back. They pulled out. They removed our luggage
and gave it to you.
Gave them back to us.
And someone took your space on the bus?
It didn't matter that somebody took it or not. The bus was not even full in essence. I mean,
but it had to go because it was time.
Yeah, it was time. So they took the bags off, the luggage off, handed them over to us and said we could take the next bus. The bus left.
Or you can go back and eat.
Now,
oh my God.
The point I'm trying to make, I think so that was another experience was that they said we couldn't even. This was another experience. They said we couldn't bring the food into the car.
Yeah.
Right. So the bus. So the
there's
bus
a
had to
place
come
for
back.
everything.
Yeah.
To
So
be
these
done.
are two different experiences.
Right.
So the point I'm trying to make is that those systems have consequences for non-compliance. So it is not like here. Oh, the minister has come late, and so you understand. There, if the minister comes in late, there may well be consequences for him.
That's right.
People will raise issues. So if they say it is 9 a.m., normally they will give you plus or minus 5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, so we understand that somebody may have missed a train or something like that. So 5 minutes. But they will start. You understand? But here, 1 hour has passed, nothing has happened. 2 hours, nothing has happened. 3 hours. So the president was caught up in another meeting. No, that is not respectful of the people who have left everything they needed to do to come and sit here. Because at the end of the day, if the train delays by, say, 5 minutes, the cascading effect is so serious that the economy cannot bear it.
Yeah.
You understand? The train delays for 5 minutes, it's a problem. The flight delays for 5 minutes is a problem. So the system would have to compensate for all of that. We don't do that. Let me read something, Bernard, for you.
Okay.
There's this gentleman who works with Mirage and Yagmo Group. He's been working, he says, for 10 years in Ghana. He wrote something that has become viral. I read it the other day.
Which are the platforms?
So on LinkedIn. Okay. If you want to get serious these days, that's where you go, because
I have
other
been
platforms,
there.
Yeah, that's right. The other platforms,
They don't insult.
They don't insult. So,
How can you insult
so the name is Jacob Caritas.
Okay.
And he wrote 10 years in Ghana, 5 things I've learned.
Okay.
After a decade of living and doing business in Ghana, here are a few lessons that have stuck with me. 1, systems may move slowly. People make things happen. Official and other business processes can take time. But things move forward because of the people behind them. Relationships matter more than procedures.
Very important in Ghana, it's true.
Then there is a tip. Always keep an Excel sheet of your network. It's more valuable than any manual.
Repeat that.
Always keep an Excel sheet of your network. It's more valuable than any manual.
It's not ideal, but that's the society we've
That's the
created.
society we've created.
That's the society
His
we've
observation is not from Ghana.
Correct, go on.
Yeah. 2, caution runs deep and decisions take time.
It's very true.
Back to the time factor.
People are all, they will say, oh yeah, we'll do, but never do it.
He said, I'll sleep on it. Isn't just saying, a saying.
You will think
I'm
about it.
literally going to
It's a
sleep.
common approach.
Yeah,
Many people make decisions slowly and deliberately,
correct.
often shaped by a background. You were speaking about background much earlier,
Correct.
where risks carry a lot of weight.
It's true.
Quick answers are rare. Patience and persistence are your best allies.
And he's talking from a perspective of somebody who wants to advise those coming here to do business with us, to understand the way we think. So it's not necessarily negative or positive. He's just reflecting what he's seen.
Yeah.
But you need to pull from that what that means about the way we operate.
Exactly.
Yes.
And whether that can make us competitive. Go on.
Now, 3, he says, not all gaps are opportunities. Just because something doesn't exist doesn't mean there's demand for it.
That's true.
Validate ideas locally.
100%.
Ghana has its own rhythm. Follow it, don't force it.
I love it.
I like it. I like it.
4, you can't outsource ownership. Sammens has been talking about absentee farmer. Leaving your business to experts
Oh my God.
won't get you far.
It's true.
You have to be present, involved, and lead from the front. You lead from the front.
Correct.
It's not just a business, it demands your presence, not just your signature. And finally, experience is valuable. But in the long run, it's loyalty, honesty, and a willingness to grow that truly shape a great team. I've seen people come in with limited backgrounds, but rise to critical roles. So Bernard was talking about, getting the person for the software and then deploying the person over time. So you hire for aptitude, you normally say,
And then you recruit
train for
skill.
Ah, okay, good. And then I've seen people come in with limited backgrounds, but rise to critical roles simply because they cared, showed up consistently, and took ownership. Technical skills can be taught, but values like reliability, integrity, and humility come from within.
Can you share it with me?
I'll share it with you.
I want to read some comment that have come through.
Before you go, you know, it just sums up a very beautiful point. But I think that with all these things, this is somebody's observations captured nicely. We just inflict pain on ourselves as a country. My biggest concern is how we build cultures out of wrongdoing.
Yeah.
How a country has a network of traffic lights, vehicular traffic lights, and yet every morning you see police people defying the traffic signal to determine their own traffic flow. That particular thing is a problem. You understand? Now, traffic light systems are built based on
Data.
vehicular traffic movement data. And there's an algorithm that is built into the traffic light system
Based on that.
that determines the queuing of vehicles on each channel of the road network.
Correct.
That's how it's built. So if we did not do that, how did we end up putting up the traffic light
lights.
system?
Correct.
Because you have traffic flow, vehicular traffic flow.
Maybe it's a
That's
decoration.
one.
Maybe it's a decoration.
And then secondly, there's a queuing system. That is the vehicle waiting, determination of vehicle waiting time.
Which determines the amount of time allotted per channel.
Yes. Okay. So that if you take, say, what would be
Use Gifford Road.
Gifford Road, yes, the
Gifford
airwork there.
Yeah.
The vehicular traffic movement towards Elwak from 37, it's not. It may not be the same as towards cantonments GIS into airports.
And it may change in different times of the day.
Yes, but there's a model that they use,
which then
you
optimizes
understand.
the thing.
And then in some advanced countries, they have introduced sensors.
To then react.
Yes, to react to. Okay, but instead of standardizing it and perfecting it, we invest money into it and disable it and waste our time by putting police people there. Where the thing is read, the police person will tell you that, oh, come and pass. Yeah. And they actually believe they are doing you a favor.
And then what is worse, when the police are there and somebody's on a motor police dispatch coming with some MP or whatever, they'll stop and everybody also. So they've also built. A sense of entitlement for. And then when people are in military cars coming, they also defy it. Yeah. So you've invested money in a traffic light. You'd put police there to do what the traffic is supposed to do. Then you also use the arrogance and impunity of people who feel they are better than everybody else
to disrupt
the whole thing. Mm-hmm.
That's why I say we inflict the wound on ourselves. Yeah. So nobody is pushing us.
And you institutionalize it.
That's it.
If institutionalize
building a culture out of it.
It's serious.
Look, you are listening to us in your car. See the traffic light. The policeman is telling you that. Pass
They do it at this one too. Fiesta Royale.
Why do we do that?
They have not calibrated the system properly.
But go check how much they use to build the thing.
It's crazy.
It's even more than what is being done in, say, New York.
It's serious, though.
But how sophisticated is our road network? It's not sophisticated.
Read some messages.
Yes, please. Let me rope in some.
The system should be smart enough to spot from, say, if you have a traffic light at, say, let's say...
use the one we are using now.
Which place?
Gifford Road.
Which area?
That is Elwak.
Elwak, yes.
So Elwak, for instance. So you should be able to spot from, say, the 37 roundabout.
Yeah.
There is a sensor there, there's a camera there, calculating the number of vehicles.
You are giving people ideas to procure.
I'm quite familiar with this one. The model is there already.
Okay.
And every traffic intersection, what they installed there has inbuilt firmware, software, reactionary instructions based on sensors. You understand? So what I'm saying is that they know the rate of vehicular that passes there. So it's built based on the averages, and then in exceptional cases the sensors will pick. But I'm just saying that you don't go and spend, say, $10 million on a traffic management, vehicular traffic system, and then disable it.
So they actively disable it. That's what it is.
No, I wouldn't say actively.
They disable it by putting the policeman there.
Okay, they override it.
Because they realize that the thing is not efficient. And instead of fixing the thing in the data processing, they put the police. So what he's saying is that you've spent money to buy the thing. Let the thing work. But instead of letting the thing work, you bring a policeman to come and override it.
So that is a problem. Because ideally what should happen is that the system should be smart enough to know that there are so many cars coming from this particular street.
We know that.
And the system can do it.
But we don't like that.
You see, that's the problem with deploying AI and solutions.
I know you want to do AI. You want to go to AI.
Because the people there are...
So Iceland reduced the number of working days from 5 to 4 without reducing wages, but productivity hasn't reduced. I agree with you, Bernard. Wisdom from Kaswa.
I'm a bad problem.
You said it in context of what I was saying.
Yeah,
I get that.
Now, on the argument of building soft skills of the youth, I fear that families that are raising their children with the proper values may end up raising social misfits, in that almost everyone is doing the wrong thing, such that the one who has been properly trained finds it difficult to fit in. Sometimes they become the targets of the wrong guys. Jake from Tema. What Sammens is saying is that we know there is hard work to be done, but we don't have the luxury of thinking and acting long term, so we won't do it. I have been driving for the past 12 years in the UK. I did some inquiry about how to become a professional hired taxi driver, and I was told to go to college for 1 week intensive training, then do knowledge course and disability awareness, and many more. And on top of that, I have to do a drive test again, even after driving for 12 years in the UK. This is the UK for you guys.
You forgot to add that you need to do a geography test.
Geography test?
Geography test. You need to know the area.
Yeah.
You need to know
That's
proper.
the
Be able to
system.
read a map and things.
Oh, down there. You have to
The
do
system
geography
they
test.
built for themselves based on the value they place on life.
Try a wedding ceremony at somewhere. If the bride
Osu Presby.
okay, Osu Presby.
problem.
If the bride delays, the ceremony will start. The bride will join to continue from where
Thank
the
you very
ceremony
much.
has
We
reached.
need more of that.
Very
Also,
important.
President, thank you.
God bless
But
you.
because you are not charismatic churches, so if charismatic church will do the best, would come and take his offering from
I'm told that central to they do it sometimes.
Because the indiscipline at weddings is
they
becoming
give
a
you-
norm.
If they give you time, they will start.
Wow.
They don't waste time.
You know, so
don't
let me
start.
chip in there.
Yes, please.
You see, there are times that you see the cascading effect. So, for instance, the seamstress who should ideally prepare the wedding gown,
Yes.
right,
Has delayed.
delayed.
Oh God.
And you see, it
But you should
flows
have the
within-
gown before the day.
Bernard, I'm telling you from
They will put
experience,
pepper
many
in your
of these
eyes,
things
sir.
happen. Sometimes, ideally, you should go and fetch the dress,
Yes.
right,
Everybody has
before
an
coming. People don't go and fit it.
Yeah.
They expect the seamstress to bring it. They've brought it. Okay, maybe the hip, no, there's a problem there. So he now has to go back, or she has to go back.
There
to
wasn't
fix it.
precision.
So there's a problem. Or maybe the people who should prepare the cake, or the person who should bring the drink, or the people who should bring the rings. All of these things, and many people have bad attitudes to the work they do. And
But
that
I
creates a-
strongly believe the attitude of the people is a true reflection of its leaders. When we get the train, Sammens has been talking about, and it moves at 7 prompt and it doesn't wait or stop for anyone, I think discipline will start from there automatically. Need from Temasenda through. DJ Paya from Adenta says, "Oh, better than team.
Fire,
God,
fire.
fire. Oh, fire. Better than team. God bless you for this indiscipline discussion." Just yesterday around 8 p.m. on a holiday, I had to step out for an emergency. I got to Roman Ridge and I met a Land Cruiser speeding with sirens just blowing on a holiday in the evening. I asked myself, are you rather not drawing too much attention with this noise on a holiday with literally no one on the road?
It's been dreaming to do
They are
that
so
since
used to it. I think our leaders are just siren happy. We can't continue like this. The people in positions of power are not showing discipline with the privileges given to them. Bernard and Co. All of this is downstream of culture. We are not an industrious people. We like the good things in life and we are not ready to put in the hard work and grind to achieve them. On the contrary, we are very clever people. That is why this region of the world is full of scammers trying to live the high life without putting in the sweat. Some cultures tend towards hard work and the results show over generations. Governments and the social elites can influence public culture towards what will take us there: honesty, merit, plain old hard work, etc., etc. Jojo from Lashibi Sanda through.
All right.
The
Before,
agents- yes,
when you
please.
finish the question, I just wanted to give you an update. You know, from Wednesday, we've been talking about some problems that required fixing.
Yes, please.
I just need to update listeners that the ECG, at least the 2 issues I brought up from listeners have been addressed. The first one was some pole which had problems with fires. After we did the broadcast, I think 2 hours later, they went there and they fixed it. Then the second one was a gentleman whose transformer at Obeyeye Amasaman had not been working for 10 days and there was power off the whole area. Yesterday, he called and said ECG, after listening to the program, went there to fix the issue. So at least for those who put their issues on air. So I want to thank Engineer Ayiku or Mr. Ayiku of ECG. When they hear, they usually send people to respond to the matter. So
Nice one.
ECG, thank you for solving the Maya Hot problem and the Obeyeye, what's the name of the place? Obeyeye Amasaman situation.
Thanks to ECG. But Bernard, let me just add something quickly, but it's also in connection with the discussion. So this is coming in from Engineer Abdullahi,
Okay,
who says,
Muhammad.
my take is this. Blue Skies is a company along Ofankon Sawam Road, very close to Sawam. Blue Skies is owned by a British family, but management and workers are 99.9% Ghanaians. Work ethics is the same as what you would experience in the UK. Workers in and around Sawam are all Ghanaians. But if you know you are late, you stay at home on that particular day. They have 4 shifts. Morning at 6 a.m., mid-morning at 8 a.m., afternoon at 12, and evening at 9 p.m. sharp. They have over 4,000 workers in the supply chain. I've known the company closely from 2009. and they are just growing in leaps and bounds. This is all about time.
I like that. It's a good place to end.
Yes.
So to summarize, the suggestion is that to become a productive country, we need to work on our software. And the place to start from is time consciousness. Or time, what's the word? The expression is called respect for time.
Right.
Respect for time, which the president can start, or political leadership can start. Or leadership generally, church leadership, religious leadership, whatever. All of us can begin to say, let's respect time so that it cascades into productivity. It's a good place to start.
Right.
Thank you for that angle, Caleb.
Okay.
Thank